Hallo ihr Lieben, herzlich willkommen zurück zu Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. Wir sind gerade im schönen Bewlay oder wie es heißt, angekommen. Und unser Date, was wir hatten, was uns über das Hügelgrab erzählen wollte, ist nicht gekommen. Und ein Typ wollte uns was über unser Date erzählen, Mr. Shoulder, und der ist dann ganz mysteriös verschwunden. Vielleicht ist er tot, wer weiß. Und wir gehen jetzt los und werden versuchen, das rauszufinden, würde ich mal sagen. Los geht's.
Good morning, Miss Bateman.
Good day, Stanley. It's Mr. Stanley Kemp, the proprietor of the Plough and Furrow. He has the serious and worn-out facial expression of a man who deals with drunkards on a nightly basis.
Ja, das härtet ab.
Did you sleep well, Miss Bateman?
Yes, thank you, Stanley.
Splendid. I'm happy to report the rain of yesterday has lifted. It's a clear morning outside. Crisp.
Will nicht, dass er der
I
Katze
prepared
was
a room
tut.
for your assistant. What time will he be arriving?
His train will get in around midday. Kenneth will also be bringing my excavation equipment.
Oh, aye. What does that entail?
Schaufeln.
Picks, shovels, buckets, lighting and such. He usually packs it in a large crate. Come to think of it, I'll need somewhere to store it.
You're welcome to use the alley behind the inn for any such bulky items.
Is it safe to do such a thing?
I can assure you the local folk are not thieves, Miss Bateman.
That's not what I...
Now, say nothing more of it.
Thank you, Stanley.
I'll let you get on with your day.
I'll be back
klar.
with my assistant when he arrives.
Miss Bateman,
Yes?
I've something I wish to get off my chest, as it were. I've been tossing and turning all night, Miss Bateman. I feel rotten, I really do.
What on earth are you talking about?
As you know, I like to run an honest establishment. And well, I have not been honest with you, lass. I do know of Hobbs Barrow.
Aha.
You do?
I do. Many here do. There are stories tied to that place, you know. If I've learned anything in this life, it's that some stones are best left unturned. Old Leonard Shoulder is someone to be wary of too. I can't tell you what to do, lass, but you'd best avoid him.
Why lie to me about Hobbs Barrow?
I know, lass, I know. I feel dreadful.
But why? What are these stories you speak of?
I really can't tell you more. If you insist on visiting that place, you'll have to seek out Mr. Shoulder. He brought you here. He should be the one to tell you.
I must say, Mr. Kemp, this is all quite puzzling. I've never let local superstitions stop me in the past. I pride myself on being a woman of logic and reason. I've no time to waste on such matters.
As I say, seek out Mr. Shoulder. He can tell you more.
Ja, wenn ich nur wüsste, wo er ist, ne?
Why must I be wary of Mr. Shoulder?
The man has a certain reputation.
For what?
You've seen it already. Were he here to meet you last night?
No.
Precisely. A man not to be trusted.
Unzuverlässig oder was?
Where is Hobbs Barrow?
I don't know. I say that on my mother's grave, Miss Bateman.
I now find that hard to believe.
The moors are vast, lass. I'd tend not to go wandering out there. A grown man could lose himself and not be seen again.
Where does Mr. Shoulder live?
I can't say for sure. As I think I told you last night, he's a quiet man and keeps to himself. He only comes in here to collect his post. Leads me to believe he lives a fair distance away. Certainly not in the village itself.
Might someone around Bewlay be able to help me find him?
You could ask around. As I say, lass, Bewlay folk mean well. Don't forget that.
I shall return later.
Good day to you, lass.
Dann habe ich das falsch
if you
verstanden.
see Herbert around here, be sure not to feed him.
Herbert?
A local stray cat. He comes in now and then searching for scraps. I'm sick of cleaning his vomit off the floor.
Quite. I'll be sure not to feed him.
Thank you.
Alles klar. Das kann ich gut nachvollziehen. Aber es ist halt notwendig, dass sie das machen, ne? Wegen den Haaren. Ist nun mal so.
It seems I may be fighting a battle against some sort of local superstition. Is there a single barrow in England that doesn't have some ghastly tale attached to it? Hogwash. All of it.
So war das halt
I've a
damals.
few hours until Kenneth arrives. I should use this time to find Mr. Shoulder.
Okay.
He looks like a rather shady character. Hello. My name is Thomasina, and you are...
Now then, that's none of your concern, love.
What do you do around here?
Hey up, you're not scared of sticking your neb in. I look after the churchyard. Dig the graves.
Das passt zu dir.
What can you tell me about the church?
Aye, it's a church.
Quite. Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
I don't know aught about no Leonard Shoulder.
What can you tell me about Hobbs Barrow?
Naught to be found digging around in those things.
You know of local barrows, then?
Don't concern yourself.
What can you tell me about Bewlay?
Naught much around here, love. Naught worth mentioning to you, like.
I see. Goodbye.
Das war sehr informativ. Oh Mann, das wird schwer.
It's the vicarage.
Können wir mit dem Vikar sprechen?
I don't think anyone is home.
Nee, offensichtlich nicht.
The little whelp looks determined to slaughter the very air itself. Hello,
Yes?
my name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Douglas?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Douglas. That's a great sword technique you have.
Thanks, miss. Mr. Crozier's gonna make me a real one when I turn 12. I'm preparing myself to fight the lantern worm.
What is the lantern worm?
It's gonna come back and get us all. John Lantern thought he killed it at the River Ware, but my father told me it still lives. We must all be prepared.
The lantern worm isn't real, Douglas. Father just told you that to get you out of his hair.
Not true. I saw it slithering out by the beck. Like a giant eel it were. I ran home so fast I thought I would fly.
Sorry, miss. My brother has a vivid imagination.
Children often do at his age.
I'll keep training. You will all thank me when I thrust my sword deep into its fat belly.
Douglas, this lady doesn't want to hear your nonsense.
Do you like living in Bewlay?
Yeah, I do. Are you from the city?
I'm from a long way away.
You must have come on the train. I love watching all the steam puff up into the sky.
Have you been on the train yourself?
No, miss. Our parents don't have the money for train tickets. Father says we have all we need here in Bewlay.
Perhaps this nice lady would like to take you away with her on the train.
No, I need to stay and protect Bewlay from the lantern worm.
Werden wir sehen, ob es diesen Wurm vielleicht nicht doch gibt, so, ne?
Do you know a man called Leonard Shoulder?
That's a funny name.
Irgendwie erinnert mich der Name auch irgendwie an ein Lied oder irgendwie so, ne?
Have you heard of Hobbs Barrow?
What's that?
A local burial mound.
Our parents don't let us wander far from the village.
What's a burial mound?
Don't you mind about that, Douglas.
Verstehst du eh nicht?
Who's Mr. Crozier?
He's a blacksmith. His forge is just over there on the other side of the square.
Don't you think 12 years of age is a little young for a real sword?
I'll be a master swordsman by then.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, miss.
War das noch ein Ding damals? Master Swordsman?
Good day.
Hello, miss.
My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Betty.
Nice to meet you, Betty.
Immerhin mal jemand, der freundlicher ist, halbwegs.
What are you up to?
My brother is practicing his sword fighting technique. I'm to watch him until he tires himself out.
I'm tireless.
Super.
This time last month it were all about his teaspoon collection. This month it's swords.
So sind Kinder halt, ne?
Do you know a man named Leonard Shoulder?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
Our parents don't like us talking to strangers, miss.
So you know of it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye, miss.
The building is in a dilapidated state. Quite an ornate construction. This was created with pride and care. The cross denotes this as the site of a market, or perhaps a site of traditional religious significance. A local cobbler. No one here.
Ist heute Sonntag oder was? Dass die alle nicht da sind?
I don't think anyone is home.
Gehen wir erstmal kurz hier gucken und dann gehen wir zur Kirche.
The blacksmith is toiling away.
Also nicht Sonntag.
Good day.
Yes?
Mr. Crozier, I presume.
Aye, George Crozier, at your service.
My name is Thomasina.
Aye, can I help you?
Are you a Bewlay native, Mr. Crozier?
Aye, born and bred. That's where my father's forge before mine.
Ich esse so ein paar Gummibärchen. Ich hoffe, das stört euch nicht. Ich brauche ein bisschen Zucker.
How is business faring?
I do an honest trade. There'll always be horses needing shoes and farmers needing tools. You let me know if you need out made or mended. I'll do you a fair price.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier. Do you know a man by the name of Leonard Shoulder?
Oh, aye. Old Leonard.
Have you seen him recently?
No, not recently.
Do you know where he lives?
Why all these questions, lass?
I need to speak with him. He invited me to Bewlay.
Oh, he'll turn up. I've seen him in the plough and furrow from time to time.
But do you know where he lives? I need to find him.
I believe he lives somewhere out on the moors. Can't tell you out more than that.
Thank you, Mr. Crozier.
Ja, aber da verirrt man sich ganz leicht, wenn man nicht eine genaue Wegbeschreibung hat.
Do you know of a local landmark named Hobbs Barrow?
There's a fair many barrows found out on the moors, lass. Too many to put a name to. Not a soul in Bewlay pays them any mind.
What can you tell me about Bewlay?
We don't get many visitors here, outside of market days. But there's plenty of work for the village blacksmith. Where are you from, then?
I arrived yesterday on the train from London, by way of Derby.
Oh, aye. I've heard about London.
What have you heard?
Plenty of factories there.
Eure Hauptstadt?
Yes, indeed. The city is always changing and moving forward.
Too busy for me, though, lass. I prefer a quieter pace. Aye.
Das ist valide.
When do market days run in Bewlay?
Once or twice a month. The next one is tomorrow.
How delightful.
Unless your vice is cabbages, there'll be nought to interest a young lady.
I don't mind a cabbage.
Then you're in luck.
Thanks for your time.
Aye. Speak to you later.
Es ist halt auch wirklich so, ne, wenn man jetzt, also ich war 2 Jahre in Portugal und wenn du dort auf dem Land eine längere Zeit verbringst, dann merkst du wirklich, wie so insgesamt die Zeit langsamer vergeht. Es ist alles gemütlicher und die Leute sind nicht so gehetzt und so. Und das ändert sich halt total, wenn man in die Stadt kommt oder also vor allem halt auch nach Deutschland zurückkommt. Das war nach 2 Jahren schon ganz schön heftig.
A fantastic specimen.
Ein Fossil.
Alas, it is not mine to take.
Kann ich mit dem
Good
darüber
day.
reden?
Yes?
I noticed your spectacular fossil specimen.
Oh, aye. I collect them. This one is called an...
Ammonite.
I'm impressed, lass.
From the Jurassic period, I'd venture.
Do you collect them too, then?
My true interests lie in comparatively modern history.
Oh, aye. Well, I do love a fossil. It's important to remember that we all end up in the soil eventually.
Quite. Thanks for your time.
Aye. Speak to you later.
Das ist wohl so, ne?
It's Mr. Crozier's forge. The blacksmith is right here. I've no need to go inside.
Okay, gucken wir mal, ob wir da irgendwie irgendwas finden. Bestimmt, ne? Ja.
The trusty trowel, the barrow digger's best friend.
Kann ich das nehmen?
Excuse me, do you think anyone would mind if I borrowed this trowel?
You help yourself, dear. Father Roach won't mind lending it.
Das wär
Just be
nett.
sure to put it back when you're finished.
Of course, thank you.
It is more blessed to give than to receive.
Wenn sich jeder dran halten würde, das wäre toll, ne?
In memory of Mabel Hurst. In memory of William Ager. The woman has a kind face. A fine assortment of baked goods. A lovely treat for those who enjoy such things. Hello.
Good day. Would you like to buy one of these cakes, pet?
Pet.
What kind of cakes do you have?
I have some lovely Bakewell puddings. The sweetest marriage of almond and jam. I can tell you're not from around here, because if you were, you would know about my Bakewell puddings. They are quite famous.
Alas, I'm not carrying any money with me.
Eben.
That's unfortunate, pet. I'm sorry. I can't give them away for free. The money goes to the church, you see, and one cannot shirk one's duty to the church.
I understand. My name is Thomasina. What's yours?
Mrs. de Plancy.
A pleasure to meet you, Mrs. de Plancy.
Likewise, pet.
Tell me about yourself, Mrs. de Plancy.
About me? What would you possibly want to know about me? I've been attending St. Edmund's Church my whole life. I always want to help where I can, so I sell my baked goods, and all the proceeds go to its upkeep. This
Sehr
place
fromm.
means so much to me.
Ja, merkt man.
What can you tell me about St. Edmund's Church?
Isn't it the finest building? It's been standing here since the 12th century. The box pews in the nave are very fine and date back to the 17th century. The door is open if you'd like to worship.
Thank you, Mrs. de Plancy.
Ist das nicht gotisch oder so? Ich kenne mich nicht so gut aus, aber ich weiß, dass es das auf jeden Fall gibt.
Do you know a local man called Leonard Shoulder?
Yes, I know Leonard. What business do you have with him?
It's a long story, but I'm trying to find where he lives.
I'm afraid I don't know, dear. Father Roach has access to the parish register. He might be able to help you.
What can you tell me about Father Roach?
He is a lovely man and an exemplary servant of the Lord. He's been the vicar of St. Edmund's for many years.
Where can I find Father Roach?
At this time of day, he'll be taking his exercise in Herne Wood, to the west of the village.
Thank you. I'll go find him.
Be sure to listen out for his merry whistling. Such a jolly man.
Okay. Nach Westen also.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
Hobbs what?
Hobbs Barrow, a local burial mound.
The only place of burial I know about and care for is in
Hier.
this very churchyard.
Glaube ich dir irgendwie nicht, aber gut.
Your cakes look delicious.
I can assure you they are. You'll not find better in the entire county.
Thank you for your time.
Lord be with you.
The doors look weathered, but have stood the test of time.
Gucken wir mal rein. Oh, ein
Goodness
Kruzifix.
me, look at these box pews. I've never seen any as tall as that before. Most unusual architecture, even for the Normans. Is that a necklace? Someone has left a necklace hanging here. A silver cross. Sterling by the look of it. Maybe I can reunite it with its owner. Those have seen better days.
Ja, die sehen ganz schön alt, kaputt aus.
A memorial list of former vicars. They stretch back several hundred years. This must be where the local vicar sacrifices the newborns. I've no time for such things. Stained glass depictions of various biblical scenes. It's not my specialist area. I can admire the craftsmanship from afar.
Okay.
Extraordinary craftsmanship. I can admire the crafts...
Okay. Ich glaube, Box Pews.
The pews are contained within compartments that can be locked. I've seen a similar design in other Norman churches around England, but this is a particularly impressive example. Locked. Locked as well. I think they all might be.
Okay, also können wir hier nicht wirklich was machen. Dann kann ich die nehmen.
The flowers have long since dropped.
Ja, alles klar, dann. Gibt's hier noch links irgendwas?
This leads to the church tower, I presume.
Kann man da rein? Nein.
It's locked.
Kann man hier irgendwie nach Westen? Ich habe keine Karte oder so. Ah, sein Pfeifen. Da ist er doch. What the fuck?
Very sorry. Oh, the shame. This malaise will not pass. Oh, the nausea. I need your help, young lady.
Tell me what you need.
Let the blood from my arm.
Was?
Excuse me?
Got me. I beg you.
Womit denn? Hä?
The vicar's spectacles lie...
Okay, ne, gucken wir mal, vielleicht...
Ouch! The broken lens is extremely sharp.
Ja, gut.
Perhaps I shouldn't risk soiling this glove until...
Ja, wie soll ich das denn sonst nehmen? Ach so, Handkerchief vielleicht?
This handkerchief was a gift from my mother. I hope she will understand. This should work.
Okay, kann ich ihn jetzt... Super.
Are you sure you want me to do this?
Yes, it will cure me of my ills.
So ein Blödsinn, ey, aber gut.
I shall do as you ask, Father.
Ugh. Das war ein Placebo.
Thank
Ersatzbrille.
the Lord for my spare pair. God bless you. I already feel quite better.
I'm glad, Father.
The rapid healing properties of bloodletting cannot be overstated. I'm
Oh, doch.
Frederick Roach, vicar of St. Edmund's Church.
My name is Thomasina Bateman. It's a pleasure to meet you. Are you feeling better?
Yes, thank you.
What ails you, Father Roach?
I just ate a rotten berry, that's all. I like to pick blackberries for my supper, you see. They are quite delicious, as long as you mind the bramble. My apologies again. I wish we had met in different circumstances.
Are you from Bewlay originally?
I was born in our very own St. Edmund's. It's quite the story.
Do tell.
My mother was sheltering there as a frightful tempest raged. And
Sturm.
lo, did her waters break right there and then in that pew.
One could say that you were born into your role, Father.
Indeed. When my mother told me the story as a young boy, I knew that this was my calling.
St. Edmund's is a fine building.
Thank you for saying so. It's hard work keeping her in good shape, but our congregation is always willing to lend a hand in the Lord's name.
What is it like being the vicar here?
Every day is a blessing, my child. I have a great love for our parish, and the Lord looks after us.
What about your congregation?
Numbers have fallen over the years, I must say. But those that remain are faithful and full of his spirit.
I'm looking for Mr. Leonard Shoulder.
Oh, yes? Are you a relative?
No, it's a long story, but he invited me to Bewlay.
And he didn't tell you his address?
He was to meet me last night at the Plough and Furrow, but he never came.
I see. Well, let me welcome you to Bewlay on his behalf.
Thank you, Father. Do you know where Mr. Shoulder lives?
Let me think. It's been many moons since I've paid him a visit.
Perhaps you could allow me to take a look at the parish register.
No need. I remember it now. A fair hike across the moors.
Could you please give me directions?
I'll take you there myself. It's the least I can do after you aided me so.
Capital. Thank you.
Sehr nett.
Just let me know when you're ready to pay him a visit. I'll be resting here for the time being.
What do you know of Hobbs Barrow?
I can't say I've heard of it.
It's supposedly a famous local
Lügner.
landmark.
I'm afraid I know nothing about it.
What can you tell me about Bewlay?
It's a quiet town. The railway line, which I presume you arrived by, is the only news of note we've had here for years.
I've heard the new station has received a mixed reaction.
I've heard many a debate, it's true. But my role is not to adjudicate on that matter. I'm very busy in my own work, you see.
Ne, sonst jammerst du rum. Müsst du auf meinem Schoß liegen. So,
I'm ready to go to Mr. Shoulder's
würde
house.
ich mal sagen. Ne?
Excellent. I feel the fresh air will do me well. Follow me.
Aderlass, Mensch, das ist ja so vorsintflutlich. Muss ich mir das jetzt merken? Oder?
Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Mrs. Duplancy. Mrs. Duplancy, this is Thomasina Bateman, a visitor to our parish.
We've already had the pleasure of meeting, Father.
Excellent. Miss Bateman, don't hesitate to try one of Mrs. Duplancy's wonderful cakes.
Yes, I've heard about her famous Bakewell puddings.
I'll be here all day, young lady. But remember, once they're gone, they're gone. Those little whelps have already gobbled up all the gingerbread.
You are doing God's work, Mrs. Duplancy.
He smiles upon us, Father.
Miss Bateman, if you'd like to follow me.
Schon wieder die Krähe.
Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes, write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors, and talk of wills.
Shakespeare?
Quite. Which play?
Oh Mann. Keine Ahnung. Richard II.
Richard II?
Correct. You are well read, Miss Bateman. Studying the work of the bard is one of my favorite pastimes.
Ich hätte jetzt anders geraten, echt. Also Richard II. Kenne ich gar nicht. Also ich meine, habe ich das mal gesehen, weiß ich nicht, kann sein, aber wenn dann schon sehr lange her.
Behold, the vast expanse of God's creation. The moors extend as far as the mortal eye can see. Beautiful, is it not?
Ja.
Indeed. The moors are beautiful.
Die Blumen sind
The
hübsch.
beauty of God's creation is that it takes so many forms. How can one
Muss
take
Frühling
in
sein,
such a
ne?
view and not have faith? Some look at these moors and think this a godless land. But I tell you, he is found in all domains. The Lord's work is all about us.
Jetzt laber nicht so viel, ich bin
Tell me,
gespannt.
Miss Bateman, do you believe in God?
I was brought up Anglican. The church was an important part of my early life, Father Roach. But what happened to my father eventually made me question things.
If you don't mind me asking, my child, what happened to your father?
He had an accident when I was very young.
Come along now, Thomasina. Let's get out of the rain.
Thomasina ist auch so ein Name, wa? Oh, ist sie schwanger?
Remember what I told you, all right? Be a good girl. People are unwell here. They don't want to hear you running about making noise.
Ach, das ist das
Understood?
Krankenhaus.
Yes, Mother.
Good. And don't annoy the nurses.
I promise I won't.
Good.
Ach, süß.
Now,
Die
let's
Stimme
see
von
your
ihr.
father.
Wie kommt das, dass die wieder schwanger ist? Hat er das vorher noch geschafft, oder? Ach Mann. Shit.
Mummy is crying. Mummy? Mummy? Daddy is sleeping. Daddy, wake up!
Good evening, Mr. Bateman. Hello, little one. You must be Thomasina?
Yes.
My name is Nurse Blaketon. I just need to talk to your mummy for a little bit. I'm sorry to disturb you, Mrs. Bateman. Mrs. Bateman?
Will he ever talk again, Nurse Blaketon?
The doctor is uncertain, Mrs. Bateman. There is the possibility that Mr. Bateman won't regain any movement at all. But we will do our utmost to look after Mr. Bateman here at Ticehurst Manor. He will have a nurse by his side at all times, I can assure you.
Schrecklich. Traurig.
What sort of God would allow this fate to befall such a kind and honest man?
I'm sorry to hear this. God moves in mysterious ways.
Ja, das sagen die dann
but
immer,
he
ne?
loves us all. Come along now.
Hello? She scampered off in a hurry. Who was that?
Some primitive folk make their home out on the moors. I suggest you keep your wits about you when you are exploring, and don't stray too far from Bewlay.
I see. How much farther to Mr. Shoulder's house?
Still quite a walk, I'm afraid, but we'll get to him soon enough. Now then, take a look at this.
Was ist denn das, Roma, oder?
Legend
Hört
has
sich
it
so
that
an, ne?
this cairn has stood here for over 1,000 years.
How remarkable.
The Devil's Toe.
Super.
I beg your pardon?
That's what it's called. The Devil's Toe.
Oh, I see.
Come now, onward.
Spatz, das ist gerade... Oh, scheiße. Nicht so laut.
We walked and walked across that vast,
grad ein bisschen
featureless
unpassend.
landscape.
Die Kleine ja, aber du bist zu groß.
All the while, Father Roach was whistling away merrily. Just as I had begun to wonder if we were hopelessly lost, a building emerged from the mist. Mr. Shoulder's cottage.
Mann. Oh, schön, Reddach. Finde ich halt mal ganz toll.
Here we are, Miss Bateman. Unless my memory
Aber
fails
teuer.
me completely, this is Mr. Leonard Shoulder's house.
Thank you for your help, Father Roach.
Now, No need to thank me after your providential assistance today. However, I have something to ask you.
Yes?
Please don't tell Mrs. de Plancy about my little scene in the woods. She will only fret. The poor dear woman has enough on her mind as it is.
I shan't mention it.
Thank you.
So, reicht.
You'd better see if Mr. Shoulder is in.
Bin bald fertig und dann.
No sign of life?
Nee.
None. The window is nice and clean. The dwelling is by no means abandoned. No sign of any movement. A fearsome-looking beast. A sweet little hen, plump and well-groomed. Mr. Shoulder has stacked blocks of wood neatly beneath this small lean-to.
Very neat and tidy.
I've no desire to lug a block of wood about the countryside. A woolen undergarment.
Oh,
That glove looks familiar. I wonder if it matches the glove I found behind the plough and furrow. The gloves are a pair. Does this mean Mr. Shoulder was in the alley last night? Why didn't he come inside to see me? Mr. Shoulder must have dropped the matching glove last night.
kann ich ja
What was
nicht,
he doing in the alley?
nicht nehmen oder irgendwas?
Rather rude of him not to come inside and see me.
Nö, mysteriös, ne?
The trousers feel damp, freshly hung, or still wet from last night's rain.
Okay.
A carved stone has been affixed to the door. I think it depicts a crescent moon. Father, what do you make of this?
A peculiar adornment. I've not seen any like this in Bewlay. Though it does remind me of a passage by the bard himself. It is the very error of the moon. She comes nearer earth than she was wont, and makes men mad.
Othello.
Othello?
Precisely, Miss Bateman. Your knowledge of the bard is presently flawless.
I consider myself to be well read, Father Roach.
Ich
It's
nicht.
delightful to meet a fellow bookworm, I must say.
Zumindest das nicht.
A carved stone has been... I think it depicts...
Kann ich es nicht nehmen?
It's bolted onto the door itself.
Nee, okay.
I can't remove it. Mr. Shoulder? Is Thomasina Bateman here? I'm here in Bewlay as discussed.
Maybe try again. His hearing probably isn't the best at his age.
Das war wohl ziemlich klar, ne?
Mr. Shoulder, are you home? It appears Mr. Shoulder is not at home. Curses.
Perhaps you could try the handle.
It's locked.
Perhaps he's gone for a stroll.
Possibly.
I'd suggest you call back later, my child. I myself must make my way back home. I have some matters to attend
Ja,
to
genau,
with the
da geh
church.
hinter mich.
Shall I accompany you back to Bewlay?
No, you go ahead, Father. Thank you.
As you wish. Farewell, Miss Bateman. I hope Mr. Shoulder finds his way to you.
Thank you for your help, Father Roach.
My pleasure. Parting is such sweet sorrow.
Okay. Ich glaube, das war Romeo und Julia, ne? Jo. Romeo und Julia.
Romeo and Juliet.
Correct? That I shall say good night till it be morrow. You've proven yourself to be an impeccable scholar of the bard, my child. Lord be with you.
Ich hoffe, das bringt uns was.
Well, Mr. Shoulder, you've brought me to Bewlay, and now you're nowhere to be found.
Kann ich irgendwo irgendwas...
This must provide a charming view across the moor.
Roomkey.
I've noticed Mr. Shoulder has stacked blocks of wood neatly beneath this small lean-to.
Vielleicht kann ich irgendwas machen.
The trowel's freshly... A pair of...
Ich hätte gedacht, vielleicht kann ich da drunter gucken. Und da liegt ein Schlüssel.
No sign of any...
Okay, also...
You're a sweet little thing, aren't you? You're a sweet little thing, aren't you?
Okay.
He looks much too unruly to be picked up.
Okay. Dann halt nicht. Da ist auch nichts. Gut, dann gehen wir einfach zurück, ne, würde ich sagen.
As I trudged back to Bewlay across those cold moors, I made a new resolution. I would find Hobbs' barrow myself, with or without Mr. Shoulder.
Jupp.
The train! That must be Kenneth. I should go and meet him at the station.
Hoffentlich kommt er auch.
Margaret's Lookout. I wonder who Margaret is, or was. Margaret's...
So.
I wonder who... or was.
Das ist doch hübsch, wa? Absolute Einsamkeit. Ich würde mal sagen, das war's für diese Folge. Und in der nächsten Folge holen wir Kenneth ab und gucken, ob wir mal von anderen Dorfbewohnern noch ein paar Informationen einsammeln können. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Wenn es euch gefallen hat, dann lasst mir doch einen Daumen hoch da. Vielleicht ein Abo, wenn ihr Bock habt. Ansonsten sehen wir uns beim nächsten Mal. Tschüss.